Hey, what's up guys? I'm Praetorian and welcome to Old World. So this is a 4X turn-based strategy game that has a much heavier focus on characters than you'll see in other games of this type. I think the best way to describe it is almost like a combination of the Civilization series with the Crusader Kings series. And I've only played half a campaign. I'm enjoying it quite a bit so far. But because I have played so little in the game, this is definitely not going to be like a beginner guide series or anything. I will explain the mechanics and stuff as we play so that those of you who have never seen this game won't be completely lost. However, I will not be doing this as a sort of beginner tutorial type of series. We're just going to be playing it, checking it out. I just wanted to show it to you guys. This game is currently available on the Epic Game Store. But the Steam version, which is what I'm playing right now, I have early access to the Steam version. That'll be coming out, I believe, in the spring of 2021. So if you want to wait for the Steam version, you're going to be waiting quite a few months. However, if you want to play right now, you can get the game on the Epic Game Store. I will have a link to both of those store entries, the Steam page one, since you can pre-order it, I believe, and the Epic Game Store. I'll have a link to both of those down in the description of this video. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and jump into it. You notice there's no music here on the main menu, which is throwing me off. And the reason for that is because there's a setting here in the options that allows you to turn off any music that might have copyright issues. So we're in the copyright safety mode for recording and streaming. And so since that's on, it does disable several songs, including the main menu music. So that's the reason why we don't have any music on here. You'll notice there's not a lot of songs in the game. You will, when you play it a bit, you will start getting sick of the current songs they have. That's one of my few complaints with it. Overall, I'm enjoying it quite a bit, but you might want to play your own music after you play for, a dozen hours or so. You'll notice that there's only 7 leaders, 7 civilizations to pick between, so not as many as you'll typically find in these type of games. That's one of the few negatives here. But overall, the leaders do have a lot of different stats and differences between them. They each start with different texts. They have unique units, unique shrines. These are the different shrines that you'll build in your cities. So they all have their own unique shrines here. And then they have different families. And we'll talk about the family mechanic as we play here. But yeah, you have different families, and these are pretty important because you'll interact with these a lot. Probably more important than anything else you'll see on here, in fact. The leader archetype, that's important for the beginning, but your leader does age and die. So if you're to play as Greece, you'll start as Philip, and then when he dies, you'll play as Alexander, who became historically Alexander the Great. But he might not be Alexander the Great in your campaign. In fact, I played as Greece for my one campaign that I did, and Philip lived for a really long time, way longer than he did historically. And thus, when Alexander came to the throne, he was already pretty old when he came to the throne, so he just wasn't able to accomplish as much because Philip lived for so long. But yeah, just like Crusader Kings, you do have a family tree and heirs and characters age and die and have all kinds of cool events, so we'll be digging into that. But because your character does age and die, the archetype of your current character that you start as your ruler is not as important as some of these other ones. Starting text, that helps again in the beginning, but you'll be able to get access to all these with any civilization. The units can be important, you'll utilize these and gives you nice advantages. And of course the shrines are great too, but I really feel like the most important thing to pay attention to is the families, because those will be, utilized throughout the entire game, and they play a pretty major role in the overall campaign. So if you're looking at anything, just looking at stats wise and not looking at, flavor and roleplay wise, if you're just looking at stats, these are probably the most important things to consider. So I played as Greece in my little test playthrough, and we're going to play as the Romans for this campaign. And I feel like because we just did that Humankind series, which was another turn-based 4X game, sort of like Civilization, and during that time I did not pick the Romans when we were able to for the culture of that age. And a few people give me slack because, my YouTube name here, my stage name, whatever you want to call it, is Praetorian, and that we didn't play as Rome at all. So we will go ahead and start as the Romans. As far as which text we'll be starting with, we'll have ironworking, stone cutting, and the polis. And those are the benefits to those. These are our unique units. So, we're going to have legions, and our shrines will be to Mars, Vulcan, Venus, and Vesta. Those are the benefits those provide. These are our families. We'll talk about those more as we play. And our archetype for our initial leader is going to be Tactician. The archetypes are basically like character classes of an RPG. Controls what roles you can do. So in this case, he can be a general or a spy master. And then also gives you additional benefits when acting as a leader, which, he's of course the leader of our nation, or as a general. You have some that, give you bonuses for being a governor, so on. And we will be playing as Romulus, from the myth of how the Rome was founded, between Romulus and Remus. And so we don't even know that Romulus is a historical character, for sure. So it does have characters that might not necessarily be historical. Dido's another one, which you typically see in Civilization. We don't know for sure that she existed. She could be more of a mythical character, but it does have some historical characters as well. But yeah, it's interesting that Rome, you start as Romulus instead of what you typically see as Rome, which is, Augustus, Caesar. I think Trajan is used in the current Civilization. But yeah, you get Romulus here in the beginning. But yeah, there are obviously a lot of historical characters. In fact, most of these, Nebuchadnezzar, most of these are, Philip, most of these are historical characters. Cyrus the Great. I'd say, in fact, it's only these two that we know are not exactly historical. But the other 5 are historical characters. And those are your choices: Assyria, Babylonia, Carthage, Egypt, Greece, Rome, obviously, and Persia. And you'll notice that these are all, countries from antiquity. And that's because this game, the Old World, based on the name, and that is because you do not move through the different periods of time in this game like you do in, say, Civilization or Humankind. You'll play in, the Ancient Age and the Classical Age for pretty much the entire game. So yeah, let's go and start as Rome here. We have a simple setup or an advanced setup. We'll be doing the advanced setup. We'll have all 6 opponents, so all the other countries we're playing against. Mortality is going to be standard. That just controls how frequently characters die young. We'll have standard. The turn scale, you can turn to semesters, which I would almost advise because things go kind of quick as years. Each turn is 1 year. So, you might have a character as your ruler for, 20 turns, 30 turns, 40 turns, depending on when they come to the throne. Really not that long overall. So I would suggest doing semesters because my little test playthrough, I did years, and I definitely felt like things were going too quickly. Because it's a Let's Play, though, we're just going to do the years. Change up the event level. We're not going to do any of that. You can change the gender succession on, I believe it starts genders inherit equally, but we're going to have males inherit before females. Technically, as Rome here, we probably should have it so that females can't inherit at all if we wanted to be entirely accurate. But we're not going to do that. I would like the option to be able to play as a female character, and there's a lot of female characters, probably just as many female characters as male, if not more. Sometimes it seems like there's a little bit more female characters. At least I had that in my Greek playthrough. So I wouldn't want to limit us only to playing as males, even if it would be more historical. We're going to go with this, so kind of a mix of historical and not, because we could go all the way where, genders inherit equally, which again I think is the default setting. But yeah, we'll have this one. Males inherit before females, but we could still play as a female if, say we didn't have a son and we had a daughter. And then you can also pick the succession order. We'll go with primogeniture, which results in our oldest child inheriting. But there are several different options that you can pick here initially. And you can change that later in the game as well. For the difficulty, we're going to go with the good. That's what the AI plays on, so it's default setting. Honestly, this is some of the best AI I've seen in any turn-based, strategy game, 4X strategy game. That's way better than the AI you'll see in Civilization, where you have to turn up the difficulty to get any kind of challenging playthrough. And Humankind has a much better AI than Civilization, but I would say this game's AI is even better than Humankind. It's one of the best AI I've seen in these type of games. So we're just going to play on the default because, again, I'm pretty new to the game, so we don't need to get our butt kicked here. Tribal Strength, we have it set to weak. I think that's default, but we're going to go ahead and turn it up to normal here. Yeah, we'll put it to normal. We'll keep AI aggression at normal, though. But yeah, we'll make the tribes a little bit stronger. The AI advantage, we're not going to give them any advantage again. They play pretty well. Once you get some experience, I assume you're going to turn these settings up a bit so you get more of a challenge. Again, the AI is pretty decent in this game, so I think I'm in second place in my current playthrough right now. I've got somebody who's way ahead of me in first place as far as points go in my current playthrough, which I'm only halfway through, so I definitely have time to catch up, but I've noticed that they play pretty well. I think this is the default setting, so we'll just keep it on that. We'll have all the victory types, allowed. We'll have a random map. You can use a pre-made map. There's a couple different pre-made maps you can use. These are the options here. So like playing the Mediterranean, the Old World, so on, Middle East. We're going to have a random map. As far as these settings, I think we're just going to leave it on Seaside. I think that's the one that it starts on. So yeah, we'll just play with that one. We'll have a huge map size. Honestly, the huge map size doesn't really feel that large. So I mean, it's not a small map, but yeah, we definitely want to have the huge if we're going to have this many players. As far as terrain variation, you can change these up if you so desire. And you know what? I think we'll have the extra mountains. We could just leave it on random. It's going to have something though. Or you can do tundra, extra desert, extra water. We'll do extra mountains. As far as the tribes go, you can pick like how many different tribes you have here. You can just randomize it. And I think that's what we're going to do. We're just going to randomize it. Resource density will remain at medium. See if there's anything else we want to change here. I don't think so. There's an undo section, or an undo mechanic, I mean, where you can undo any action that you do. You can even undo the entire turn if you so desire. And you can turn that off if you can't control yourself from using it and you don't want it. That does let you turn that off. We'll keep it on. I don't really use it that often, honestly. Usually just when I make a mistake on clicking, which is, it's nice to have when you click on something you don't mean to. So I like that it has the undo option. I don't really use it that much though. So let's go and start the game. But yeah, it's just nice to be able to undo a mistake. How many times in the Humankind series did we have I accidentally clicked on something or didn't mean to click on something, and then we just had to live with it. So having an undo option is nice. And if you want to abuse it and use it all the time and, you know, scout ahead, see where the enemy is at, and then undo that action, you can do that. And you can play it however you want. I know some people might just want to turn it off because they can't stop themselves from doing those things. Personally, I like the unknown, going into the unknown and having a bit of a challenge. So I don't typically do that. So we are Rome in the Old World. You are Romulus, first king of the Romans. Cast into a river and left to die as a baby, you were found and raised by a she-wolf. Years later, stronger and trained for your return to the world of man, you were reunited with your birth mother, Ilia. Together with your jealous twin brother, Remus, you have fought tooth and nail to unite the disparate tribes of your people. You have now set out to find a place for your new city. The existing civilizations of this old world do not yet know the power and might of Rome, but they will learn. Select your settler and found your capital city. You'll also decide which family manages your first city, gaining their advantages immediately. So Prince Remus, our brother, is our heir. We'll take a look at our current family tree here. We'll do that now, actually. So we access the family tree with this crown. This is our mother. She is a character in the game that we might be able to utilize. She's an orator, so she's got very good charisma. Yeah, charisma's at 6, pretty decent. There's 4 character stats: charisma, discipline, I think courage. Courage is one, and wisdom is the other. And they have different effects depending on what position you are in the country. So she has a 6 charisma, but not very much discipline. We are King Romulus. We are currently 22 years old, so quite young. We're known as the founder. That can be kind of important, your nickname. We're a tactician, resulting in us having a wisdom of 2, a courage of 2, and a discipline of 1. That's actually not a horrible character because we don't have any negatives. Nothing's really high, but 2 is considered like average, I think, just based on what most events require you to have like over 2 or 2 or over of something to be able to get like special options for them. So that's kind of like it seems like the average. But it can get much, much higher. I've seen stats get up to like 12, 13 or so. As far as our other stats go, because this is tactician, so these are all the bonuses we're getting. As a general, we're immune to critical hits. As a leader, we get +2 vision range and hidden in friendly or neutral trees. And then as a general, we'll get a -20% on attack and defense strength, and we'll be able to stun targets. And we are ruthless, which is considered a weakness. You can have up to 3 weaknesses and up to 3 strengths. And so ruthless is considered a weakness, so it's one of those 3. And it actually gives you bonuses. You get 2+ courage, but it takes away 1 of your discipline. I assume that's why it's considered a weakness, since it's taken away a discipline. And it might also affect people's reputation quite a bit, yeah. You can see all the additional benefits there. Our heir is our brother, Prince Remus. He's the same age as us. He's a schemer and he's bold, so he has very good wisdom and a little bit of courage. He clearly does not like us. He's very angry with us. Yeah, He doesn't like us at all, so that's because he's vengeful against us. So could very well have some problems from our brother here in the near future. So that's the family tree. It's pretty interesting. Again, it's like Crusader Kings in a way, not quite as detailed as that, as you'd expect. But in some ways, I actually like the character system better than like CK3 or whatever. In some ways, obviously, it's far more detailed than CK series, but we'll talk about it as we play. So we're starting out here, and we currently have one settler. So just like in Civilization. However, unlike in Civilization, you can't settle wherever you want. You can only settle on these city sites. So your expansion in the world is limited, since you do have to find these city sites. So yeah, let's go and get our first settler placed. One thing you'll want to consider when you're placing a settler is the borders, because the borders do change based on where you put that city. Now, these are not your permanent borders. You can increase them, and we'll talk about that later. But we'll be able to increase the borders of our city, and that is done a lot differently than it is in, say, the Civilization series. So just looking at the borders and where we're going to get, if we want the elephants, you got to put it right here. Going over this way is only going to get you a couple more tiles over there, it looks like. They don't really have anything. Just looking at the current site compared to this one, you can see going this way, we don't lose any tiles, but we gain tiles. So this site is clearly better than this one. Yeah, because you're going to get an extra, I don't know. It looks like you're mostly getting mountains. But you're getting 2 tiles here and 1 right there. And then going this way, you're going to lose 2 tiles here. And that's some citrus that you're losing. So you are losing a resource there. And you're going to gain 3 tiles here. Or no, 4 or 5 tiles? Actually, yeah, you're gaining quite a bit going here. Okay. And then right here, this is clearly not the best location because you're not getting any of the stuff down here and you're getting the mountains. I feel like this is probably the best one. You're going to get the camels up there. And here, you're getting a lot of extra tiles. But you're losing the citrus here. So we're going to go right here. Now, one of the unique mechanics of this game I haven't seen in other games is the order system. So unlike other games where each unit can move and attack each turn or whenever they're limited to based on their unit type, in this game, everybody uses orders. Now, they do have a limited amount of actions they can take until they get fatigued, and then you can still make them do stuff. It'll just cost you more. It'll cost you a few different resources in order to push them further. But these orders are shared by every mechanic in the game, essentially. It's basically your government's limited ability to give orders out to everything, the army, the bureaucracy, your families, the people who work for you. So yeah, everything utilizes orders, guys, and you can definitely find yourself running quite short on them and just being limited on what you can do because you just don't have enough orders. So it's important early on to get more of those. So you'll see here when we move, it says 7 orders. That tells us how many orders we'll have left, not how much the cost of the move is. So we have 8 moving here, which result in us having 7. So we're going to go move right there, and that's where we're going to be settling. And when you settle a city, every city is owned by a family. And you can only have 3 of these 4 families. So you need to decide which one you don't want, essentially, because you won't be able to get all 4 of them. And they all come with different bonuses. You're going to have to interact with them quite a bit in the game. It controls what type of characters will come from that family. Overall, this is kind of an important choice that you make here. And so we're just going to go through these now to look at our different options and see which one's the best for our capital city, as well as which one we're probably not going to utilize at all. So our first one here are the champions, basically a military family. And you can press the middle mouse button to lock any of the tooltips. So just like Crusader Kings. So you can lock the tooltip so that you can, look at the different modifiers and stats to it, and you can even look at another tooltip and lock that one as well. So very nice that strategy games are starting to have stuff like this. I like it, and I feel like this one actually works better than the CK3 one does. So the Fabius family here, they're the champions, and they're going to give us a +2 of our training every year, so every turn. A +50% for our city defense. New units start with the steadfast, which is +25% against tribal units. Pretty helpful. The family seat here, so that means the first city that you found with this family, so every one of their cities will not get this, only the first one, is going to get a +25% on their training. And on the seat being founded, they'll have a garrison, which is pretty important. We'll talk about garrisons in a little bit. So they get a garrison added. And one negative here is that you don't get to pick where the garrison is going to be added, which could be important, during warfare. You also see the character tendencies. So these are the traits you're likely to see, the character classes you'll likely see from this family, which in this case is heroes and commanders. So basically a military family. You'd expect them to have military characters. There's some opinion preferences. So this is, things you're going to have to deal with. Negatives and positives to opinions. So like us having the largest military would increase their opinion. Having a small military would decrease it. And when we found the family seat, we'll get a plus 80 opinion for 20 years, and so we'll be happy about that. We'll also get some legitimacy. This is what legitimacy is. It's right down here. The legitimacy essentially has two important effects. The first is that it increases the amount of orders that you have. So we're getting a +1 because we have 10 legitimacy, which is pretty low. And so we're only getting 1 order from our legitimacy. And it also controls your opinion with your families. It increases the opinion with families. So the higher legitimacy is, the easier it is to manage your families. So as of right now, we're not getting a very high bonus, just +10, since our legitimacy is so low. And just establishing this first city is going to increase our legitimacy by 5. And that's going to be regardless of who we put here. So that's basically our war family here. We have the landowners under the Claudius family. This is going to increase the growth of our cities by +2, and that's only for the cities that the family owns, by the way. I should make that clear. These bonuses are only for family cities. Negative 50% on rural specialist production time. We'll talk about specialists later, but essentially we can build them quicker. +2 on the culture year per crop resources. So you get 2+ culture for every crop that you have, crop resource. And then the family seat will be able to buy tiles. And on the seat being founded, we're going to get +2 citizens in our city here. The character tendencies, they can be tacticians, judges, or builders. And those are those opinion preferences. The next one would be the Valerius Patrons. So you're going to get a 2+ on the civics. This is civics up here. It also affects the building. Again, once we get a city started, we'll discuss all this. 2+ on the culture year per specialist. We can hurry projects with money in any of their cities. They tell you it just costs money, but every time you do any of the hurry options, which are several different ways to do it, you can do it with money, you can do it with, I'm trying to remember all the things you can do it with. I think you can do it with orders, extra orders. But there's like 4 or 5 different ways to hurry projects up. But all of them also increase the discontent in the city. So that's one thing to consider. You get a -1 discontent level per culture event. That's helpful. And then it's also going to give us a court minister, which will be a character that we'll be able to utilize and for a variety of different jobs. A pretty nice little bonus there to have in the early game. And then the last one is the Julius family. This is going to give us +1 orders per year, and that's in all the cities they have. +1 civics per year per family opinion level. Unlocks the decree projects, and that's only in the family seat. And on the city founded, we'll get a treasury 1, which is one of these projects essentially. And that's going to give us 100 gold and +10 gold per year. And on seat founded, you get 400+ of the civics. So honestly, there's some pretty good families here. I think what we're going to end up doing is probably not going with the landowners. I would like to have the champions, but they're not going to be in our first city. Thinking maybe not the landowners. Not as impressed with their bonuses as with some of the other ones. These ones are both really, really good. And I think we're going to pick the Valerius family. Yeah, I think there would be a good choice. I didn't look at their character tendencies, which is schemer, orator, and builder. While with the Julians, the character tendencies are commander, diplomat, and judge. So we could go with the Julius family. That would be a good one as well. That extra order would help. Gaining all these bonuses here, like the treasury and decree, that'd be fantastic. But I think we're going to go with this one. And there we go. I didn't mean to click that yet, but at least I accidentally clicked the right one. And again, it doesn't matter though, because we have the undo last move. If we had clicked the wrong guy by accident there, we would have just been able to undo it. But that's the family we wanted to pick. So they're going to give us this court minister here. He has a charisma of 5, discipline of 2. He's a judge. And his one strength is that he's frugal. So as a governor, we'll have a negative 50% improvement cost. That's pretty helpful. Yeah, so that's fantastic early on here. So we're going to go and welcome them. We have the tutorials on. We'll just kind of skip through these, but you can pause and read them if you so desire. We'll pick a tech here in a minute. So when we start our first city, we get 3 units. You will not get these. We might need to turn the tutorial off, actually, because, yeah, it's going to try and teach us everything. So, yeah, I might need to turn that off. But we start with 3 units here in the beginning. Once we establish our city, there's really no reason not to establish a city immediately in the area you're in. In fact, it's really going to handicap you by quite a bit, because you would have to go find another city location, which, will be fairly close by, but it's going to take, a turn to get over there, and most of them might have barbarians on there. So you cannot establish a city site unless there's nobody else on those city sites. So yes, that does mean that you can put an army on a city site and stop anybody else from colonizing there. They'd have to declare war on you and attack you in order to colonize that city. And you can see that we have 2 city sites very nearby here. There's one right here being guarded by barbarians, and it doesn't look like there's anybody on this one. And then there's another one right over here that I didn't even see. So yeah, lots of city sites nearby for us to establish. Also, we have quite a few resources here. We've got all these mountains up here in the north as well, which have been named the Alps. If we found any additional mountain ranges as we explore, we'll get to name those, which is pretty cool. And you get more legitimacy and stuff for discovering them. But yeah, we start out with 3 units. We have our warrior unit, and we'll probably want to send him over to do battle against those barbarians. We have a worker, which, like civilization, we're going to use to build stuff on the map here. And we have a scout, which, of course, we're going to use him to do some exploring. So what I think we're going to want to do is figure out immediately where we want our next city. You can see that the game starts you out for your first city anyway. I don't think it does this with any future cities. It's just the first city, they start you out building a settler. And I suggest you just keep that as is. Now, one of the interesting things about this game, something you'll notice if you look over here at our production screen, is that unlike Humankind or Civilization, any of these type of games I know of, they all use like some type of resource, which they typically call like, production or hammers or industry or whatever they call it. And you use that to build almost all units. Now, some of them will have you use like food or something to make settlers or workers, but for the most part, you use that production to build everything. Units, buildings, projects, whatever. It uses your hammers. In this game, it depends on what it is. So you'll notice that all of our civilian type of units here use our growth, which that is not the food. Food and growth are 2 different things. You notice we have food up here. Growth and food are not the same thing. And it will use the growth to build these civilian units. You use training to build any military units, and then you use the civics here to build like these projects, which you don't really construct buildings in the city. You only construct them on the map, kind of like the districts in Civilization. You really only build them on the map, and then here you'll just build certain types of projects like the walls, a few other different things as well. So you could change this up to build something else, but I do suggest you stick with the settler so you can go and settle another city as early as possible. It'll take us 6 years, 6 turns to get that settler built. Now you notice here that all those other city location choices that we had are now, well, they have buildings all on them. They're all urban tiles. So what you can construct on each tile is dependent on whether it's an urban one or it's a rural one. So there's completely different buildings for each of those. And you're going to do a lot of constructing of buildings out here on the map. Quite a bit of it. Your workers would do that throughout the game. That's the main thing. Your workers will do that and build roads, repair stuff. The type of things you'd typically do with workers in these type of games. But yeah, you do have to build, or construct urban buildings on urban tiles or next to them, so you can expand the area of your city. And then the rural buildings have to be built on the rural tiles. So let's go ahead and start out by probably getting some of these unique resources here. Now, you'll notice we have all these different suggestions of what we should build. Now, when you hover over anything, it'll show you in the units movement area, it'll show you what you could get. And these are the resources up at the top. We have money, we have food, we have iron, we have stone, wood, and then those are the orders, and then there's all these ones as well. But these are the main ones you'll get from the map here. And as far as what we need most, probably steel, because iron, because it's going down by -1 right now. So that might be the first thing we want to get. Now, you notice that we can buy. We can use money to buy, or, we can even sell these if we so desire. So being in the negative is not like a huge problem, as long as you got money to buy more. But yeah, I think we should probably get either stone or iron. We might do the stone first, actually, because we're not really earning any of that either at this moment. So yeah, I think that's what we're going to do. The little other number down here next to the coin, that shows you how much that would be, how much it would cost to buy it. You notice the sell price is a lot less. So these will change the cost of buying and selling. So as far as where we should build a quarry, you'll notice that we're getting more points over here. The quarry gets a bonus for being next to the mountains here, plus 40% for being next to a mountain, plus 40% for being next to a volcano. There is a lot of different adjacent bonuses, and so you do want to consider that. The reason why this camel one is getting so much is because it's arid on top of being next to the mountains. But a plus 11 is actually pretty damn fantastic. Us being next to the mountains should help us quite a bit when it comes to stone. But that's what we're going to start with, guys. Now, you could make the argument to go after some of these other things, like the mines here. That'd actually be pretty good. You're going to get a lot of steel. We're also going to get some training from there. Yeah, I mean, this would be a good thing to get too, honestly. Yeah, that's actually really, really good. But you know what? We're going to do stone first, because you use stone to construct a lot of these buildings. So, like if we were to build a mine here, it takes wood, but if we built a fort, it'd be stone, a hamlet would be stone, quite a few things take stone. So we're going to build the quarry first and get our stone issue solved. We're going to plus 11 there, and that's going to take him 4 years or 4 turns to finish that. With the scout here, we can't do anything because we used all of our orders up to move that worker over there. So now we have no orders. Now we can still do things by buying new orders, or you can press control and then it'll just buy the orders or any additional cost from the movement for you. And we buy orders using training. So, the little points up here, you can buy additional orders if you so desire. We won't be doing any of that though. And then if you want to move past your area where he has movement points to do it, that also has a cost to it. But yeah, we're just going to go ahead and end our turn. That we do have the tech to get selected. So we'll want to do that. We already started with all these techs here, and we have founded the city of Roma. So you can pick your tech up here, or you can just go to the tech screen. There are 2 different ways to view this. This is the simple view. I prefer the detailed view, so it shows you everything you get, and it looks more like what you'd expect from this style of game. Unlike most of these games where you can just, pick whatever tech you want based on what you've unlocked from what you previously have researched, this one you can't do that. It's like a card system, kind of like Stellaris, where you pull cards, you pull the techs, and then you have to research one of those ones. So it's just like Stellaris, and like Stellaris, you can also increase the number of cards you have available each turn, so you'll have more options. And so these are the 3 we have, and these are what they're granting us. So yeah, we can build the walls and the hamlets right away. And these are the 3 that are available for us to research. Trapping, which would unlock slingers, the range unit, a camp, that allows us to get trappers, and that would probably be pretty important because we do have camels, elephants, and game. So yeah, we'd want to probably get that one. This one here would let us get all of our shrines, so that's also important. And then the last one here would unlock the treasury and the granary. I feel like we're going to do trapping to get the camps. I think that's the best thing for us initially. Now you might also want to consider the techs that they unlock, but remember that's not quite as important because just because you unlocked it doesn't mean it's going to get pulled. So maybe you'll have these techs available and you won't be able to get whatever one you unlocked. You never know. Now you can say that tech is targeted. I don't know what that does though. I don't know if that makes it more likely for you to get it. I'm not entirely sure. But trapping would unlock military drill, allowing us to do a rally troops thing. That's like an action that your leader can take. It's a nice thing to have when your leader's not doing anything. And then you can also get the barracks. And I mean, all these are pretty good. There's not a whole lot of techs that are just like useless. But I think this one's the best one for us right now because of the camps. So we'll do the trapping here first. That's going to be 6 turns. And there's really nothing else to do because we have no orders. There's all different types of things we can do in this game. but we can't do it because we don't have orders. And one of the interesting things that this kind of creates, one of the interesting elements that is created from this order system, is in most games they gotta be worried about giving you too much to do per turn, because then every turn becomes just exhausting because you have all these different things to do, all these units to control and give orders to, all these actions to take, all these decisions to make. But with the order system, they can give you a huge amount of different things to do because you can't do all of them. You have to choose which ones you're going to do. And so it results in just far more choices each turn, while actually having less actions than in other games. It's interesting. I like it. But yeah, we now are into the next turn because our worker's already working. We'll now get to make use of our scout, use some of these orders here. And we're going to want to discover where we want to send that settler. So what we want to do is probably come over here first. And one of the interesting things that you can use orders for is that your scout, I thought this was, apparently not. Okay, I thought we had stone right there. All right, looks like we don't have any resources here. But we have one here. Now you notice we just got gold from discovering this resource. Just discovering resources for the first time generates you bonuses. So that's a really nice bonus here in the beginning that allows you to get something from your scouting. You're using your orders from this and you're getting something from it. But one of the things you can do, and this describes it here, is harvest a resource. So you can pause and read it if you want to know about that. But other games have this, where you harvest resources. Civilization does, for instance. So in Civilization, you have the ability to harvest a resource, and when you do that, it removes it from the map. So essentially, it's only something you want to do for like bonus resources that you're never going to be able to take advantage of because you don't have any cities nearby. Any other type of resource you can still get advantages from, military resources or luxury goods for trading. You can still use those, even if your city can't actually work them. So you don't typically use the harvesting very often. But in this game, you want to use it all the time because it does not get rid of the item there. In fact, it has really no penalty besides the fact that it takes an order to do it. So by harvesting the silver, we get 44 gold, and we have to spend one turn to do it. And you'll notice it also did not take away from our movement points here, so we can still move. And what we'll want to do, we really want to explore the city site here, just to see what's in the surrounding area, to see if this is where we want to settle next. And then with our warrior, I think we should come down here and deal with these barbarians with whatever points we have. Now, you'll notice these little sites here with the ancient ruins. These are like the goodie huts from Civilization. They give you some nice bonuses. You definitely want to go after them. So we'll go grab that first, and we have just enough orders to do it. And then we'll get an event for it. Unfamiliar art. Our scouts report discovering a strange sculpture amidst these ruins. While it is unlike any art produced in Rome, it holds a strange beauty. What should be done with it? So we can say display it in Roma, and we'll get plus 40 culture. Or we can say perhaps someone else will appreciate it more. And we're going to do this. We're going to get the culture, guys. And so that'll go straight over here to Roma. Now, what culture does is that's down here at the bottom. These are all the different growth factors. So the first one is growth. Every time you fully grow, so get up to 100 here, we'll get a new population, a new citizen that we can make use of. And we'll talk about that once we get one. We actually currently have one citizen out as of right now. Now, just having a citizen gives you benefits. So if you just hover over the citizen, you'll see that it'll give you more orders, 0.1 orders per year, and also it reduces the cost of the city overall, like the maintenance cost. So even if you don't use your citizens for anything, don't turn them into specialists, you're still getting bonuses from them. But we don't have any specialists that we can train just yet, and you'll see why we can't do that here in a little bit once we get our something constructed here. This is the culture. Once it gets to 100, you move to the next level. Currently, we have a weak culture. Once you get to the next level, that does a couple different things. It'll fire a culture event, which are generally positive, I believe. I think they're all positive events, so you want to get them. And in addition to that, it controls what you can build in your city, particularly when it comes to wonders. Wonders are locked to certain types of culture, or certain levels of culture. And then we have the Discontent, which is also increasing by plus 8 every single turn. And once you get to the next level here, so once we get to 100, we'll go to level 1, and we'll start getting penalties. And with each level, those penalties get higher. And so Discontent is a kind of a serious issue in the game overall. But you can do festivals to remove, in this case, it's Festival 1. It's going to increase our growth by plus 20, and decrease discontent by -20, and then it gives a permanent bonus of 1+ culture every turn. And so that's something you'll probably use quite a bit to get rid of discontent. But yeah, that's what the culture does. I did want to show that before we end our turn, because we have no more orders left, guys. And so yeah, here we'll go. Prince Remus, our brother, has gained 1+ courage. So we'll have all kinds of like little events like this, or different things happen with the characters and our family and our families and our units. You know, different things will happen. So we have a good idea what's over here. You have some horses over there. You got some silver. This would be a great place for colonization, honestly. Might be the best location. I don't know. We'll have to see. We got ore down here that's useful to have. This could be good too. We'll have to just further explore and see. We'll go this way a little bit further. And then I think we're going to go and shoot back over here. You know what? We'll uncover this little location. And then we'll go harvest these sheep real quick. That'll give us a little bit of food. And that's up here. And then these guys, let's go and have them go after these barbarians and start fighting them before they spawn somebody else. So in this game, unlike certain other games with, I think all the games like this, your melee units, when they attack, they take damage. You know, this unit would be able to do, you know, however much damage it would typically do based on the different modifiers. In this game, that's not the case. In melee attacks, you only lose 1 HP, and that's if they're a melee unit. So range attacks, you don't lose any HP. They're not able to fire back at you. So it's basically like range units for everybody. When you attack, you're not losing much strength of your own. So yeah, we'll go in and attack them. You can see we did a little bit of damage to him. Looks like about 25% of his health. So keep going like this. It's going to take about 3 more turns to get him killed. Or maybe we'll take damage ourselves, because I assume he'll attack us next turn. Now, we still have 2 orders left. And you'll notice that we can't move anybody. They're on a cooldown now because they've done an attack. So they can't move anywhere. Our worker's done attacking. And our scout has used all his points. So we could use some of those training points to let him move further. But there's also other things we can do with characters and such. So, for instance, our character Romulus here is not going to have any children because he's not married. So we can always arrange a marriage for our character. However, as of right now, we don't really have a lot of options. Normally, you'll have 3 different types of marriages. You have a family marriage, where you can marry into one of your families, because we only have one family, we only have one choice. You can also do foreign marriages with other countries, and you can do marriages with tribes. And the marriages are pretty important in this game. So I don't think we're going to do the marriage just yet, but that's one thing we could do with the 2 orders we have. Now, one thing we should have done before we fought this guy is added a general, but because we're on a cooldown, we can't do that right now. But we should have added a general, so we could have got some bonuses and done better in this combat. So we could appoint the head of that champion family, the Valerius. We could appoint him as the leader of this unit, or ourselves. We could be the leader as well. Now you notice that Remus is not a possible option in here, and that is because of his class here. He is a schemer, and thus he can't do this job. It's not working hovering over him. Yeah, it's not showing us what the schemer does. But we can see it here. He can serve as an agent or a spy master. He also has a special mission, adopt a child, if he happens to become our leader. Has some other bonuses here as well. You can't rename everybody and everything in this game. So that's something to consider. I always like those customization options. So, you know, I don't think we have anything to do, and I don't really want to use my training just to move this guy further. It's not that big of a deal, honestly. But we could do that. Force march him so he can move a bit further. I don't think we're going to do any of that, guys. I think what we're going to do is just go and end our turn and let our order sit. So since we don't really have that much to do, we can go and end our turn, and you do get something from your orders if you end while still having orders. Looks like Remus just got another point in courage. Wow. All right, so his courage has increased up to 3 now. That's interesting. We have ran into Babylonia. Okay, so it looks like they took that one special site up here, unfortunately. The little goody hut. All right, so that's a bummer, but that means they're pretty close. They're up here somewhere. So we're very close to the Babylonians. Now we are attacked over here. And we sold those 2 orders for 20 gold. That's what you get for an order, 10 gold. It's not much. Also, we met a tribe as well, it says. Yeah, we met the Babylonians. Where's the tribe? Yeah, I didn't click on that, so. But the tribes are basically like the city-states in a way, but they operate quite a bit different than Crusader Kings. Than Civilization city-states. They're really not the same. I guess we'll go and explore this region here, guys. Might as well see what's over here, in this case we decide to colonize this area. And maybe we'll go grab this real quick. And we just discovered a landmark, the Jordan River. That's the name of the Tiber River. There we go. But yeah, you can name all the landmarks as you find them, which is just a cool little mechanic. Stay that name on the map. I don't think you can rename them though. We want to go and harvest these gems before we go. That gave us some culture. And then we're going to want to grab these this goodie hut, which is a despoiled ruin. Scavenging through the ruins, we find significant amounts of stone, iron, and wood. However, local raiders could reach the ruins by nightfall. We can't fight them off, but we can carry some of the loot back home. Which of the 3 would you like us to bring back? So we can bring stone for construction, iron for our troops, or wood. Well, we're about to get a lot of stone. Getting more iron would be helpful since we're losing that, but we'll get a lot of that as well. I find wood can be pretty short in the beginning of the game because you don't have the ability to gather wood for a little while. Instead, to be able to put like a lumberjack site up, a lumber mill, whatever it's called, where you can get the wood from the forest continuously. Instead, you typically get the wood from building stuff on them. You take the wood and then that'll give you that initially. Yeah, I think it'd be useful to get that. So, with this army here, we could appoint a general, but we're just taking damage here, guys. So, let's go ahead and attack now before we end up getting ourselves killed. So, let's go and attack him. And I think that's all we have left to do, isn't it? Yeah, that's it. We could arrange a foreign marriage with the Babylonians. You see, they don't like us. We just don't know what the setup's going to be or where they're even at. Yeah, I can't really see anything about them yet. But that would always be an option. But I think we're going to do the family marriage with the Valerius family. So we'll send that off. And it'll take 1 year before we get an offer. But we want to be friendly with the family in our capital, I think. We have an event here, a time to kill. During a discussion about how to deal with Babylonia, you make it clear that you wish someone would rid you of this turbulent Nebuchadnezzar. Unexpectedly, everyone is in agreement, and soon practical matters are being hammered out. The only question which remains is should we focus on stealth or speed. Now, you can do assassinations through the game mechanics once you get yourself a spy master. Sometimes you get some events like this as well. So we can say the sooner he's dead, the better. And that could lead to future events. We can say let us to remain undetected, or I spoke in haste and say no more about this. I mean, he's a pretty good initial leader. He's young, so he's going to be around for a while. Yeah, why not? Why not get rid of him? So, I would say let us try to remain undetected. Yeah, we'll do that option. So we still have 1 order left. There's really not much to do with that 1 order, unfortunately. So yeah, we'll just go ahead and end our turn. And we'll get 10 gold from that 1 remaining order. So yeah, they did attack us again. It looks like they also just spawned another unit up, so we might be forced to retreat here. But we do have the family marriage offer from the Valerius family, and you always get 2 choices whenever you do a marriage arrangement. So whether it's a foreign marriage, a tribal marriage, or a marriage with a family, you'll get 2 different options. And in this case, we have 2 young ladies, 24 and 25, so same age as us practically. And your spouse does give benefits. You can see over here, wisdom increases science, charisma increases civics, courage increases training, and discipline increases money. So their stats are important. In her case, she's a builder. That'll give us +3 discipline. She's also loyal. So that's a +5 discipline total. And if we ever placed her as a governor, she would be able to build stuff quicker. So essentially, with her being very high in discipline, she's going to get us money. Over here with the other option, she's a schemer. That's going to increase her wisdom, but reduce her courage, and she's deceitful, which is reducing her discipline. So the negatives do result in negatives up here. So in her case, she's going to get a science, and we're going to lose training and money. So I think the best option is clear. I think we should go with Portia. That's what I'm going to pronounce that. I might be mispronouncing that, but we'll call her Portia. And she's clearly the best option. So we are now married, and we can see that here. So we now have a wife. Looks like Remus already has a wife as well. Okay, so they're married, and hopefully we'll have some children here. We'll be able to utilize them. We were attacked again here, and you can see that they did spawn another unit, so we are in trouble here. Yeah, we're in a bad situation. We could end up losing our warrior, because I assume he's going to come over here. The marauder's going to come over here and attack us. We basically are going to have to retreat here, guys. We could stick around, and we could probably kill that guy, but then the marauder would kill us. So no reason to do that. We'll just go and retreat all the way back, and then heal up. So retreat over to here, and then you can use orders to heal. But you can only heal so much per turn, so we're going to need to do another heal order. Now, you can't just let them sit in your territory, and they'll heal that way as well, but it's pretty slow, and it's fairly slow, guys. So it's a bummer that they spawned that unit. Clearly, we'll not be starting our second city here. It's going to have to be in one of these two locations. That one's the closest, so it might be the best one. We finally finished up the quarry, getting us some stone per turn now. We're getting plus 11. I think we should probably do the steel next, though this guy is currently in the way here. But luckily we can't have a civilian and a military unit on the same location, but you cannot have two military units on the same location, just like in Civilization. You know, they do have one unit per tile, like Civilization's had since Civ 5? Yeah, I believe Civ 5 added that. And we're going to get the mine here. That's going to get us plus 2 training from the ore, and a total of plus 16 steel here. That's very, very good, honestly. We also sold that one order for 10 gold. And we have an event here. It's just a tutorial on marriage. Okay. So we have 3 orders remaining, which we will use for our scout here. And do we want to... we do. I'm going to harvest them for that gold. We'll come over to these mountains here. Got a little bit of food, because they do have some wheat in this location. And unfortunately, we're out of orders. Okay. So let's go and enter our year again. We'll get trapping here in just one more turn. So yeah, these guys got to heal again before we can come back and attack them. And I want to finish exploring this area here. Okay, so now we met the Thracian tribe. So again, tribes are kind of like city-states. One of the main differences is they don't actually build any cities. We found a valley here. Yeah, that's a fine, good Roman name there. So yeah, we'll call it that. And we'll get 2+ legitimacy from this. So the tribes, again, they are kind of like the city-states, but they don't actually build anything. They don't have any workers. They don't have a city. So that's the large difference between those and the city-state mechanics. But you can interact with them in many different ways, between marriages and alliances and war and all that kind of good stuff. So there's quite a bit to them in a way, and they can organize raids against you if you're not friendly with them. So I think what we'll want to do here, we've basically explored the city-state. We know what's around here at this point. Let's go ahead and raid these horses, harvest them, get some more gold, and then we'll come on over here and just take a look at this area. Go ahead and harvest this ore as well. And that's it. That's all of our movement points. We still have 3 orders remaining. And I think what we'll want to use that for, we're trying to select the warrior here, is to go ahead and add a general. I should have did that beforehand. So our first choice here is Julius, and he has very, very good charisma. So that's going to result in us getting a plus 21% defense strength. So that's only on defense. And then his discipline will get us plus 6 experience per year. We'll take a look at experience for the units here in a minute. But everything gains experience, units, characters. Romulus, we're going to get all the bonuses from our skills. So plus 6% on the critical hits because of our wisdom. Our bravery, our courage is going to get us a plus 6% on attack. And discipline will get us plus 3 experience per year. And then because we're a tactician, we're immune to critical hits. And then we also get these bonuses as well that we talked about earlier. So I think that our clear choice should be us. But because we just healed, we can't do that right now. Okay, I didn't realize that. We had done that this turn. So because of that, It's all a cooldown. If you do any actions like attack, assign a general, heal, those all, are going to affect your unit's ability to do anything else because they'll be on a cooldown. Now you'll notice that we have experience down here, 20 of 100. And you can promote anytime you want. You don't have to wait until you get the full 100 experience. Instead, you use your training to do that. So we could use 80 training, which it's 80 because we have 20 of the 100 to get to the next level. And so we can use 80 experience to go ahead and promote them now, if we so desired, if we weren't on the cooldown. But yeah, as you get experience, you'll get new abilities that you'll be able to get for your unit. These are his current ones as of right now. Because the family is pleased with us, we're getting a plus 5% to not just attack or defense, but both. So if it has that cross swords and shields, you get it for both. So we can't do anything, essentially. I don't think there's anything we can do unless we wanted to use training, which we're going to save that for now. So we'll just go ahead and pass the turn, get the 30 gold. Might have been something we could have done with the character. So we did discover trapping, excellent, and that did give us those slingers in those camps. So a couple things to consider up here. You have these techs to pick, which we only have 2. So we only have the military drill or the forestry, which will get us those lumber mills. So we can actually get those a little bit earlier than usual since we started with this tech, and that allows us to get wood for every turn, which would be nice. Now you'll notice that it gives us something free here. Some of these different techs will give you something free. However, it's not actually free. It's still requires you to research it. And so that's what we have up here. So we can get a free worker, or we can get a free stone boost. And you'll notice it says permanently trashed when discarded. So once it's discarded, you can't get it anymore. And so yeah, we could get this, which would get us plus 200 stone in 2 years, 2 turns. Or we can grab the free worker, which I think is what we'd prefer to have, honestly. Yeah, I think that's better, because it would take us a lot longer to build a worker here. So we're going to go get the free worker, and that means we don't have to get a free worker here, which is what I was going to do, which will be 5 years to build a worker. So it's only one more turn than doing that free one. Again, it's not really free since you have to spend science to get them. But yeah, we won't do the worker since we're getting that. Instead, we should do a unit. You'll notice we do have a specialist that we can get. So essentially, you're turning your citizen that you have available here into a specialist. So they will basically be located in that tile. The stone cutter specifically will give us 5.5 stone per year and 1+ of our civics, which civics are used for building these projects as well as specialists. And then from being a rural specialist, he's going to get a +1 science, and it'll also cost us a bit of money. So it's great to get the specialist, but one added benefit to getting specialists is that they will grab all the tiles around them if nobody else owns them, or another city doesn't have like that in their city area. So in this case, he's not on the border, so he's not going to get us anything. That's the primary way to increase borders outside of like purchasing them. That's really the only way of increasing your borders. So like once we finish building this here, if we put a specialist there, he'll grab all these tiles around here for the city of Roma. Same thing with the elephant here, he'd grab all these tiles here. So certain locations are better for specialists just because of that. It's one thing to consider when you're getting specialists. But what we're going to do here is a slinger, guys. We need a slinger because we have barbarians. We need to deal with them. So yeah, we'll get a slinger. Finished up that settler, and we need to figure out where we want to send them. We sold those 3 orders for 30 gold. So out of the 2 different locations that we could go to, I'm thinking we're probably going to go to this one first. It's closer. We'll get there sooner. It's got this silver, which will get us nice resources. It's got some horses. Down here's got some really good stuff as well, though. You have these horses that wouldn't be in their area initially, though. Well, these horses might actually be in the city area. And then we also have the gems. Gems are great. Those are a luxury resource. So let's just take a look and see what these borders look like. So we could get both the horses and the silver in this case. You get some hills here for building on as well. Okay. Over here You get quite a bit of territory if you settle right there. I don't know why you would settle anywhere else. As you can see, some of these are clearly better sites than other ones. Now, you also have to consider the hills, because those give you the siege bonuses. So notice here we're getting different bonuses. So yeah, I mean, you're going to get both the horses and the gems down here. And I think we're frankly going to want to settle in both. We can't get the wine, unfortunately. It's a little bit too far away. You could eventually add it. Here you'll be able to get the sheep. But yeah, you can see that it's going to take quite a few orders to get over here, while it's just so much quicker getting to this location. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go here. And as far as where we want to settle, I mean, I think the best choice is clear. You want to get those horses right there. Yeah, that seems like the best choice to me. So we want to move over to there, but you can see we can't move that far. So we'll just move here for now. And then next turn we'll get over to this location. All right, so we have some events here. These are mostly all tutorials. Yeah, all those events are just tutorial stuff. We have 7 orders remaining. So let's go ahead and use some of them to add a general here. And we already know we want to do King Romulus. And that's going to require 1 order. And that will result in a cooldown. So we won't be able to move down here to attack. And it's unfortunate because it does look like he's going to be fully healed by the time we get back over there. Although I don't know where the other barbarian unit went. I'm not entirely sure what happened to him. Oh, he's right there. Let's go and harvest these horses, and then we'll probably want to get, away from that guy. We'll go and grab this goody hut, which is an elderly couple. Our explorers come across a group of people inhabiting the ruins, led by an elderly couple. The couple claim that they are once the chief scribe and head priestess of the great sacked city. They ask for our help. What would you have us do? So we can stay and help them reconstruct. In which case our leader will get 40 plus experience, which you can see his experience bar. Normally you can see his experience when hovering over him, but I don't think we have any. I don't think we have any experience, so that might be why it's not popping up yet. So we can do that to get some experience, and we'll get the trait Gracious, which is a strength trait, and that's going to give us a +2 on our charisma. And that benefit for us would be the 8+ civics because we're the leader, and then that warrior unit would get that strength bonus. Or instead we say their leaders are more valuable to us, in which case we'll get +50 on the civics here, and we'll get a new technology. A new technology would be nice to have. We wouldn't have to research that. 50 civics isn't great, but yeah, I almost feel like, as far as civics go, you're going to get more civics from this option because of the Gracious giving +8 per turn because, of our increased stats here. So, yeah, you're going to get far more civics for going this route, honestly. But, yeah, I feel like getting a technology is useful. And in addition to that, you can see it could lead to future events. So, yeah, we'll say their leaders are more valuable to us. And that'll get us that new technology, which, if you want to see what that technology did, that'll allow us to get those shrines. So that'll be helpful to have. That's another thing that your worker will build out on the world map. So those guys have fully moved here. Could use training to get the city settled quicker, I suppose. But you know what? Let's try and get a little bit further away from them. We'll come over to this. Oh, we met the Danes. The warlord of the Danes presents herself at court. She says her people traditionally cement goodwill with a newly met tribe by sharing the bounty of their next hunt in exchange for gift. So we can give them some wood, and they'll give us some food. Or we can give them some steel, or some iron, and they'll give us food. Or we say we will not be intimidated, and that'll lead us directly into war with the Danes, but will grant us +5 legitimacy because we're not afraid of the tribes. And not really looking to fight them just yet. And, we don't really want to give them any of these resources, I suppose. But we are getting something from it. We'll be civil. We'll grant them wood, since we are a little bit low on iron at the moment. Okay, so I think that's all of our orders. We'll do one more turn here, getting us to turn 8. Not quite as much as I thought. We have been talking a lot about, when you do these new games, I'm trying to explain everything. It does take a while. So we already know we want to set this up right here. So let's go ahead and do that now. Now we have to pick who we want to found the city for or under. And we can do it under the one family. We don't have to get another family here. But you see there's a penalty for doing so. skipped family seat penalty here, +4 discontent per year. So yeah, we're going to want to get these granted first, guys. And as far as which one we should grant over here, we might do the champions. That's what I'm thinking. You could also argue to do the champions down in one of these areas, whichever one we end up settling first, I suppose. So that would be an option. Neither one of these grant any benefits as far as the, the different resources here that I'm seeing. Yeah. So I think we should probably just go with the champions. It's the closest location. Well, it's not quite the closest location. Actually, this one's closer. You know what? I think we're going to put the champions here, guys. Because I think that's closer. Let me just double check on this. If you're over here just to get to Rome, because we want our military city to be kind of close to our capital, or capital region area here, which is pretty darn close. But yeah, you're looking at quite a few orders to get over there. While if you were to, say travel from this city here, you're looking at 2 orders to get from there. Yeah, it's much closer. So I think we're going to settle the champions over there, guys. I think that'd be the better location. So over here, we're going to settle the Julian family, or Julius family. Let's give us 1+ orders per year, and also 1+ civics. And they're going to get a bunch of stuff as soon as we settle here. And now we're known as Romulus the Settler. Grants us some legitimacy. And also because we discovered a new landmark here, a new valley, apparently, we can go ahead and name that. I guess we'll call it the Po Valley, although I don't know that we're going to get to name that city. Or, excuse me, that river. Like the Po River. Yeah, we'll call it the Po Valley, I suppose. So we founded the city here. And thus we need to get them building something. Could have them build another settler, and I'm actually thinking that's what we're going to do, in fact. Yeah, we're going to get another settler, guys, although that's going to be 13 years, good God. They just don't have very much growth. That's something to consider. I don't know if we want to wait that damn long. that's quite a long time. The unique thing that we have here, because of the Julius family, is we got this repeatable project that we can get, which gives us +6 orders when we complete it. So yeah, we could do that to get more orders. It's going to take 4 years though, so yeah, I don't think that's the best way to go about doing this. Right now we need so many other things. Yeah, I want to get the settler, but I don't really want to wait that long. How long does it take for Roma to get them? 10 years. That's a pretty long time regardless. Okay, yeah, I guess we'll just get the settler here. We want to get another settler though, guys. So let's go and do that. We'll get the settler, even if it does take forever. Maybe once we get this worker here, have him come over here and try and get some growth for us so that we can build that settler a little bit quicker. Yeah, I think that's the best way to do it, guys. But yeah, we do have 9 orders left, so let's go ahead and get our guys doing some stuff. So we're going to go ahead and send our unit in general over here. You'll notice that other barbarian unit did take off somewhere, so hopefully it should be easier to take this guy out. Oh, he's still right there. They'll probably gang up on us. I don't know how well we'll do. We might need to wait for the slinger. But one reason to keep on coming down here and attacking is because we're getting experience for it. So even if he comes around here and attacks us and they gang up on us, which I assume they'll do, we'll likely have to retreat again to heal up, but we're getting experience for all this, and it's better than just having to sit in there, not do anything. So that's where those Danes are. I assume they're not going to come and attack this guy since they have another unit to attack, but if they did, then that would actually help save his life, and keep him from having to retreat. So I'm actually okay with them coming over here and attacking this scout here, if that's what they desire. We have another Danish shitty right there. And we got some olives over here. All right, nice. Oh, actually, we do still have... We have 1 movement point left. Is there anything else we want to do here with these orders? Or I spend the last one? I don't think so. And 1 more year to get that. So I'll just go ahead and move over to here. And we'll probably want to move them actually to the olives, so we can harvest those once we get some orders. So this is actually going to be the end of the first episode. I was trying to get up to year 10, so we didn't quite get there. Explaining mechanics takes time, of course, and I did want you guys to have a basic understanding of the game, which obviously there's still a lot more to explain, and we'll do that as we play. I didn't want people to be lost, completely lost as we played here. So didn't get quite as far as I would like, but so far we're doing all right. We got our second city set up, and then hopefully we'll get a third city set up down here. That'll be the goal for the next one. We have barbarians over here with nobody to defend our city, so that's a problem. And yeah, if we have both of our units down here, we're quite far away if they ever happen to organize a raid. So that's an issue. Basically, we need more units, guys. Now we can, race them out. We have, different ways to do that. But you'll notice that each of them has different requirements, with all of them requiring at least developing culture. And so we can't even do the basic one because our culture's still sitting at weak. So we'd have to get it up to developing before we can even race anybody out at this moment. So we don't have that option available. We just got to wait for them to finish constructing that unit. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the game so far. It's more focused. It's focused on one period of time, really, and it doesn't move you throughout the ages. And thus, because of that, because they're more focused on just one period of time, I think they do that period of time better than any other game like this, better than Humankind, better than Civilization. The AI is better, I noticed. The combat's pretty fun. I like Humankind's combat quite a bit, though, so I don't know how it compares to that. But overall, I like this quite a bit. The big part of it, though, is the characters. That adds so much to it, something you don't really see in Humankind or Civilization for the most part. Civilization has the governors, but there's really not a lot to it when it comes to characters. So yeah, just overall, I really, really like the character system. You'll see as we play that there's quite a bit to it, and it's really fun to interact with. So yeah, I'm looking forward to continuing this series. Hope you guys did enjoy the first episode. If you did, make sure you leave a like on the video, subscribe to our channel, hit that notification bell, and leave a comment. If you're looking for anything to watch while you wait for the next episode, go check out the front page of our channel. We have 3,000-something videos, all sorted by genre. Do play a lot of strategy games, particularly the Paradox Grand Strategy games. We do play some Civilization here and there. We played Humankind, that was our most recent series. We play some other strategy games every once in a while as well, though mainly play Paradox games. So while the content that I do alone here on the channel is almost all strategy, I also record videos with my wife and co-host here on the channel. We typically record on the console, on the PlayStation 5, and those are a wide variety of different genres: action, RPG, a lot of simulators, survival games. So we've got a lot of other content to watch on the channel. If you're looking for any links, check out the description of any of our videos. You find links to our PayPal, Patreon, and Teespring store if you'd like to help support the channel. You also find a link to our Discord if you'd like to join our community. And finally, you find links to all our social media: Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff if you'd like to follow us on there. So I do hope to see you guys on the next episode, and thanks for watching.